All right, guys. Canada has a new rule, well, a new law. To you're able to apply for dual citizenship if you meet these qualifications. So let's see what Canada has to say about this.
More Americans might qualify for dual Canadian citizenship under a recent change to Canada's requirements. And this is prompting immigration lawyers on both sides of the border to report a surge in applications. So I want to bring in CBC News reporter Mark Carcassol. Mark, great to be with you. Can you explain this new law and how it works?
Yeah, Liz, so essentially this came into effect on December 15th, just the end of last year. And what it does is it's a pretty significant change from what we had in place before. Previously, parents could only pass citizenship down one generation to their kids. This new law passed by the government before the end of last year has opened up citizenship to anyone who can prove essentially that they have Canadian ancestry in your bloodline. It doesn't have to be your parents. It could go back to your great-grandparents or even further back than that. The catch is that you just have to prove it. Individuals born outside of Canada before this law was passed, December 15th, 2025, must show that they have a Canadian parent or some sort of ancestor who became a Canadian citizen on or after January 1st, 1947, or specific to the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, which joined Canada in April 1st, 1949. You can utilize that date as well. As you mentioned, this opens up the window to several potential American people to move over. Now, I've seen online a lot of talk. It's mostly done in the context of celebrities. There's been a lot of talk that perhaps Beyonce, because she has some relatives way back, could automatically become Canadian, or Timothy Chalamet or Madonna. That's not the case at all. There are very strict guidelines to that. Some applicants may have to trace their bloodlines back several generations to prove that they would qualify. You have to provide documents to prove that your ancestor was Canadian within the specific guidelines, and that you are directly related through each generation. But as you mentioned, immigration lawyers are already finding themselves swamped with applications on both sides of the border. People who are actually maybe just curious about it, or people who are actually serious about it. So for anyone interested, I'll give you the details here. The fee for just proof of citizenship application is $75 Canadian. That comes out to about just under $55 American when you do the transfer. Hiring a lawyer, though, or a genealogist or some other expert that might help you trace through the generations, that could cost you thousands. So it could get expensive.
Um, I mean, I guess, right? I mean, they give you the opportunity to have dual citizenship if you can, if you qualify for it, why not, right? It's like, I don't know, getting a free set of tires if you own a Lexus. So it's like, well, if I got a Lexus, I can get free tires, why not? So, um, I mean, I don't have anybody in Canada, so and he did mention 1949, so it's only going to be a certain demographics of people there. So during that time, I mean, I guess I'm not against it, so it's just like whatever for me. But I'll tell you one thing: it's a hustle. This is a hustle because he just mentioned the fee, $55 American, and of course, you get some lawyers involved. Unless you have all your paperwork, unless you're able to provide proof, like the man said, like your great grandma, your great great grandma, or granddad, and you have evidence of all that. But if not, if you're going to hire somebody to try to do that for you, yeah, it's a hustle. Them lawyers are the only ones that's gonna make it out big. So you might want to keep that in mind. But I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't feel good or bad about it. I just don't. It's whatever with me. I don't have a opinion about it, but it's neat that they give you that option because it's funny they brought that up too. I know they have a problem with a lot of immigrants. Well, it's everywhere, right? In America, we have that, and Canada complains about that. I watched a couple videos about how their government is literally, and that's that's every country. I can think of the UK. The UK had the same problem. The U.S. has the same problem. We're trying to replace their citizens with immigrants. A lot of them are illegal, but they're trying to get them over here because if they had to do it the right way, it's going to take too long. So they're trying to quickly get rid of the citizens, replace them with immigrants, illegal immigrants, and then they give them all the all the stuff that the citizens should actually have, like housing assistance and um, was it SNAP and all the other stuff like that. Not saying everybody's on that, but they're actually giving all those benefits to the illegal. Same thing in UK, Canada. Talked to a lot of people there, and they say they just have an issue with that. They don't like it because it's hard for them to find a job, and they're placing them in these nice apartment complexes. They're giving them kickbacks, and they're just leaving the citizens out on the street. So it's funny that they bring that up. I know there's a motive behind it. I know a lot of foreigners go over there to be doctors, lawyers, and these high profile employees, and they realize the pay doesn't match the job title. So you go to Canada to be a doctor, then you're gonna be making hundreds of $1,000s a year, and come to find out you're only gonna be making 55, 60,000 a year. And the people I talked to there, they said you can't survive off that. So they're just getting by as well. I don't know if Canada has government. I'm pretty sure they do, but if so, I mean, you're going to be on that. So imagine going to school for, like, especially a doctor for, I don't know, man, 12 years or something like that. I guess 8, depending on what kind of doctor. But you're doing that that's a long haul. You got to be in school for a large portion of your youth, and you're racking up. Remember, unless your parents going to pay for your school, but you're racking up all this money, all this debt, and then when you get out of school, you think about, okay, I'm laying $150,000 job starting off, and then they tell you like, well, the best we can do is 60 grand. So what it is, a lot of them foreigners, they went to Canada, and I don't know, man. It's like, do the research. Like, no one wants to do the research, but I guess they're so, I don't know. You got to do the research, but none of them do the research, because if you did the research, you would know that before you even left your country to go to Canada to pursue school. But clearly none of them did the research. They're like, why would you go through all that, and then when you get out of college, you realize that Canada doesn't pay a livable wage. So that's on you. That's your fault. It's like buying a brand, like it's like buying a used Ferrari at a janky ass car dealership, and then by the time you get to the third light, your transmission blows up. So you're gonna blame like I say, of course the dealership should be selling trash vehicles, but they got that as is contract that you signed. So at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, they shouldn't be doing it, but it's your fault for buying it, because you didn't get it checked out, inspected, you didn't run the VIN, you didn't do the Carfax. So at the end of the day, it's like you helped them play you. So that's all it was. It comes at the end of the day, it comes down to you. So it's like you being a truck driver and you didn't secure your load, and then you going off the road, and then half your load fall off the truck. Who fault is that? So, oh, it's the people that load me up. Like, yeah, but it's your job to make sure your load is secure. So you didn't make sure your load is secure. So at the end of the day, you're gonna get in trouble, not the loaders. So that's the thing. So a lot of foreigners, they leave their country, they go to Canada, they think it's milk and honey, the land of milk and honey. Then they realize that Canada doesn't pay a livable wage for what you went to school for. And then now they're like, okay, well, I'm either going to go back home. Of course, that degree, I'm pretty sure, is not going to help them, because you went to college in another country compared to another state. So I'm pretty sure they try to go back home with that. It's not going to help them. And on top of that, I'm pretty sure the pay there is going to be garbage. That's why they left their country to go to Canada, because they want to make more. They want to make a lot of money. Because if that wasn't the case, they would just stay their ass at home, and then went to school to be a doctor, a lawyer, a scientist, and whatever. But they know it's not a lot of money there, so they go to Canada. Then they're gonna make oodles or noodles of money, and realize that they're not. That's after they get out of college. So now it's okay. Well, it's either I'm gonna go back home to my country, or I'll just go to another country. And you already know they're gonna come to America, because a lot of them are already coming to America, but they're getting these deals to go to college and stuff like that. And I can go to Canada over here, they'll pay for it, or I go to, it's cheaper over here at this country. So that's really what they're doing. A lot of them trying to get it for free, which does happen. And some, they get a better deal going to another college in another country. So they taking a chance, but at the end of the day, you got to do your research. Even if you go to school for free, well, first of all, if you go to school for free, it's like whatever you can get in that city, that state, just go ahead and just run with it. Now, if you paying out of pocket, if you racking up debt, that's a whole nother story. So all I'm saying is, if Canada, a college in Canada, say, hey, come over here and we'll give you a free ride. At the end of the day, it's like, what you complaining about? Like, oh, I thought I was gonna make $200,000 a year. It's like, nah, you're gonna make $55,000 a year. But what you complaining about, because you went, we paid for your school. But with that being said, is you can't survive out there. So it still sucks, even though you got school for free. It doesn't mean anything. It's like you getting a brand new car, but it doesn't have an engine. It's like, yeah, you got a brand new car. Like, yeah, but it doesn't have an engine. No, it's a brand new. It's just like that. So you don't want to go. So you don't want to leave your country where you're struggling and go to another country and then struggle still. Like, that defeats the purpose. So a lot of them foreigners, they stuck out. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I don't want to go back home because they had a better opportunity here, but the opportunity is not a good opportunity because they still gonna be poor. They're gonna be struggling. So but they went to school all them years, and they hunting around the country trying to find a company that'll pay them. But the whole place is like that. So they're like, okay, I gotta leave this country and then go do something else. So most time what they do, they'll go to another country and then they'll go back to school for whatever. But it depends on what you went to school for. Because you went to school for a doctor, it take a long time. You can't be going to school and then it didn't work out, and you go to another college and do another 12 years. Nah, if you don't work out that first time, and if you can't transfer your credits or your whatever to your profession in another country, you stuck out. Because I don't know too many people I don't know anybody who go to school for 12 plus years, to be a doctor, and then come to find out, oh, they only pay me 60,000, but my student loans are 200,000, and I can't survive out that. So what you gonna do? You gonna go to another country and then go to college again for another 12 plus years? You won't do that. So normally what happens, they really, the honest truth is, they just give up. They just work some mediocre job, and then they'll just stay like that. So that's why it's so important for you to do your research. And I think that's what it is. A lot of them get so excited because a lot of them do get free school, but that's just so they can get people to come to their country because, their country is down bad. And then instead of them just, okay, well, let's see what the pay is out there, they don't do none of it. They just get excited, because they feel like they escape poverty. So they're not even thinking about, okay, what's the lifestyle out there? What's the pay? They don't look up none of that. They just, oh, I'll leave my country. I'm gone. I'm no longer poor. Kind of realize they go to another country and it's even worse. So, yeah, I mean, you got to do your research. But I know Canada is doing some crazy stuff out there as well, and that's pretty much all over the world. It's like something about the country is going against their own people and trying to replace them with foreigners. So that's like a worldwide thing. It's crazy.
The website for the federal government says the process takes around 10 months, and there are about 56,000 people plus who are currently in the queue awaiting a decision. So It is a lengthy process. It is a difficult process. It is a complicated process.
I'm curious, Mark.
Yeah, let me do the math on that. He just said 55,000, and I'm just 3,000 per person, to have a lawyer help them out. So I'm just gotta. That's a $165 million. So them lawyers, oh yeah, and remember, it's no refunds. It's no refunds. You think them lawyers gonna be like, okay, I only can handle 10 clients a month? Nah, they gonna take everybody who has money. Oh yeah, we can help you with your citizenship. Yeah, your dual citizenship. Yeah. We gonna need a deposit of 2,000, and then and then another 1,000 once we get the process started, and they gotta wait a year or two. They gonna get everybody they can. So whatever law firm or lawyers, I'm gonna say this: if you're an independent lawyer, it's your time to come up because you're not paying nobody. You working for yourself. Now you work for a law firm. You know what I mean? They're gonna work the crap out you. So if you work for a law firm, they're gonna work the crap out you. But if you're an independent lawyer, oh yeah, you about to come up. Because all you gotta do is just get all the clients you possibly can, because you're not gonna do all the cases the same day, the same week. All you're gonna do is just gather as many as you can, make sure you get the deposit. They're gonna make sure to get the deposit. And then after that, they're gonna get to it when they get to it. So they're not gonna be nah, that takes time because you got to remember they got to do the research, they got to verify stuff. They doing all that work, and then now that I think about it, 3,000. That's probably like nowhere in the. They probably charging way more. They probably charging 10,000. I don't know how much they're charging, but they'll figure it out because they know what they're gonna charge. Whatever the people can pay. So I'm just saying this: if they just charge 3,000 per person, and you get 10,000. Let me do the math. Let me one more time, man. 'Cause that's bonkers right there. Yeah. So if a lawyer gets that's independent, if he can gather 5,000 clients and he charged them 3,000, that's $15 million. That's it. That's it. So he can, and then of course he gonna drag that on. He just gonna he'll take and he got his assistants that's gonna help him. That way he can get more. He just trying to get it, or they just gonna get as many clients they possibly can, and then they'll just start taking care of it one by one. But it's so important for them just to get as many people as they can, because at the end of the day, if they do it right, they can literally retire. No matter how old they are, they literally can retire. So I know Canada is expensive, but if you bring it in, you know, if you can get 20 million, you know, 15 million, I know you got to pay expenses and taxes and stuff like that or whatever, but that's a lot of money at the end of the day. Even after you pay all that, you still got quite a bit of money. But that's just going to be a hustle because a lot of people won't qualify for it. A lot of them will get hyped up and assume because they got a lawyer that it's automatically gonna work in their favor. Nah, it ain't gonna work like that. At the end of the day, it's just a hustle. Them people know. Like, I'm not saying everybody just know they family tree like that, but a lot of them people know. Like, especially like you Asian or you Indian or you African, you know what I mean, or something like that. Like, you all right. But anyway, if you got the money, go for it. But if you already know your own family tree, you just gotta have the proof. But as far as you going to a lawyer, they about to get a lot of money off that. It's just a hustle.
How are Canadians viewing this?
You know what, Liz, I got to be quite honest. This story has kind of flown under the radar here for the most part. As I said, a lot of the stories that have been reported have sort of come over social media and through the context of, again, some American celebrities could become Canadian, which is not necessarily true, not automatically anyway. But for the most part, I think, we here in Canada, we still love our American friends, and I think most people would be happy to hear this. A lot of us have relatives who are in the U.S. who, up until the rules changed, didn't qualify. Now perhaps this may help unite some families. So everyone I've spoken to about it seems relatively positive about it, if there's any reaction at all.
It's a stark contrast to what we're seeing here in the U.S., where avenues to U.S. citizenship are becoming more and more restricted. So in what ways does Canada stand to benefit from this law? You mentioned the family reunions, but compared to the U.S.'s stance on immigration?
It's a little bit different because here in Canada, our government for many years now has advocated that we need immigration. We need more people to come into the country to fill jobs, to help the birth rate for so many reasons. Now,
it's funny. They keep down now. They worried about the birth rate. That's a lie. First of all, the guy he's just talking out his butt. I don't know who is he. I don't know who he is, but he's just talking out his butt. Canada, the actual Canadians, they have a hard time finding a job. And on top of that, it's the pay. It's the pay first, and then it's finding a job. So they're giving all their work to foreigners, to the immigrants. That's what they're giving all the jobs to. Like, and even them kind of having a hard time because they're battling on they're battling for work. And on top of that, the jobs they do get, it don't make sense. Like we say over here, it's like, oh, the pay doesn't is not hasn't caught up with the cost of living. Over there is even worse because Canada is expensive. I mean, I know certain parts is like really expensive. Like you just got to be rich, but this normal towns, cities in Canada, like it's expensive, bro. Like so, it's the pay. So this the same bull crap that they saying over here in the U.S. Like, oh, we got a lot of jobs, and no, you don't. Stop lying. No, you not. Matter of fact, one of the girls I used to mess around with back in the day, I checked up on her today. Well, actually, this next yesterday. and they fired her. And she's a work from home employee, and she told me, said, yeah, they fired everybody that did remote work. That was, were remote work employees. I'm like, yeah, she gonna be all right. You know what I mean? They gave her a severance package, and she gonna be she waiting on unemployment. But yeah, that's what they doing. So they fired the whole crew that did remote work. And I'm like, yeah, they the first ones to go, but yeah, they companies firing people, and not like one, two people. They firing the whole shifts at a time. So, like in Canada, like I say, it's just you get a job. It's like the pay is not going to support your lifestyle. So, what he's saying right now is just BS. Like, if you know, you know. That's why me, I always do the research. Like, I'm not gonna. I said it before. I'm not gonna go ask a Japanese guy what's 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 what Jamaicans like to eat every day. I'm gonna go ask the Jamaicans what they like to eat every day. So I'm not gonna. I mean, he lives in Canada, but it's like I'm gonna ask the actual people. I'm not worried about what the news anchors and then like this. Like, I know they got an agenda. They gonna do their job. They listen to the higher ups. They gonna do what they tell them to do. If you really want to know the truth, ask the actual people there. So, Flint, Michigan, with the dirty water, whatever, the news making it seem like everything. No, 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 no. It's still going on today in Flint, Michigan, with the water. So if you want to know anything about a certain town or city, ask the people who actually lives there. It's that simple. I know a lot of people rely on the news, but it's like the news only gonna tell you certain things. Like they're not gonna just always tell you the truth. It's just because they want to manipulate you. So yeah, but what he's saying right now, he's talking out his butt. Because the Canadians out there, they struggling trying to find a job. And on top of they trying to find a job that actually can support them and their families. So don't believe what he talking about. He lying. Because I talked to people that actually live there, and then they mad because the city, all the cities are giving all the jobs and they giving the house and all the benefits to the immigrants. So same thing that's happening in America.
That said, the government has scaled back its immigration target numbers. That's largely because the previous government has been criticized for bringing in too many people too soon without the infrastructure and the jobs to handle them all. But Canada is still very much open to immigration, and if
Listen to what he said. He literally just said, "Oh yeah, man, Canada, they 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 take too many immigrants in," and then he turned around and said, "Yeah, but they're open to immigrants. They're open to still accept immigrants. Which one is it, bro? Is it y'all don't want no more immigrants still, or y'all do?" He literally said both of them. He said, "Oh yeah, Canada don't want no more immigrants," and then he turned around and said, "Yeah, man, Canada still wants some immigrants to come to the." What the hell? Yeah, man. Nah, I don't know. What they say. We will own nothing and be happy. So I don't, like I said, these higher ups that's running these countries, they just want the citizens just to be fucking on the streets, bro. That's all. They want us working 15 plus hours a day, 7 days a week, no benefits, no overtime pay, no insurance, no vacation, none of that. They really want to work you like a damn a mule. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure a mule get breaks, so they want. That's why they trying to replace it with robots. And it's like, okay, well, since you're replacing all the employees with robots, who gonna buy the products? They're not thinking about that. So I know certain countries they don't deal with this, man. And I see why people be moving. They be leaving the country to go somewhere else that's quiet and peaceful. And this is ridiculous. But yeah, Canada on that BS too, just like the U.S. So don't believe what this dude has to say. He just rambling on. If you just sit back and just actually listen to him, you'll catch him in a lot of baloney. And he said enough baloney for me. But like, I already know because I actually talked to the citizens there. So I already know what's really going on. So this stuff he talking about, oh yeah, dual citizenship, and they try to make it sound like it's a good thing. Well, how's it going to benefit? Who's going to benefit? I'm like, who's going to benefit? It seems like you just making it use. I don't know. Like you probably want to make it easier for more people to come over there, so they can you can tax them or whatever. Like I say, I mean, if you can get dual citizenship from Canada, that's great. Do your thing. But me, like, it don't change my day. I don't care for it. But for obviously you got over 55,000 people who do, that's fine. But it's like you want more people to come over there. You already got a terrible economy, so why would you want more immigrants to come over there? So Only thing I can think of is for them to flush out the actual Canadians. You know, that's probably what they want to do. They want to flush out the actual Canadians and replace them with immigrants so they can do cheap labor. I don't know where these immigrants are going to live because are you going to keep them in these fancy ass apartments and keep giving them these rent vouchers or whatever as long as they stay there? I don't know, but it's crazy, man. I don't know, but
It's going to come from the country geographically connected to us, just from the south. That makes things all that much easier. Various provincial governments have already said publicly that they are open to bringing medical experts over from the United States and those in several other fields. The licensing is very close, and a lot of times it is very much easier for certain experts in fields to come over and start work in Canada right away. So it
because I'm not gonna let him just keep lying like man lying on the set. Why would you want American doctors to come to Canada to do what contract work? Because they're not gonna leave America to work in Canada, and y'all pay dog shit. So you have doctors over here that's making, you know, 130, 140. Of course, you know they be enough. They get raises. So at the very, you know, they first year in, but as time go on, as each years go by, they put in for a new contract or whatever. Then they can request more money, but they make a lot of money here. So why would they leave America to go work in Canada and y'all paying y'all doctors $55,000-$60,000, and then on top of that, Canada is hella expensive. It's like, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure there's certain places, you know what I mean? But it's still expensive because everybody I talk to that lives there say it's expensive. So, and we're talking about people who actually own homes. So they live in America where they have a home, they're making a lot of money to go to Canada, and they're going to have to end up being in an apartment. And on top of that, instead of one person working, that's if they have, you know, they have a wife or a husband, instead of, you know, your wife not working, now you go to Canada, both of y'all gonna have to work, and then you're gonna be staying in an apartment. So you downgrading on multiple levels. So he's just talking. I'm like, bro, that don't make any sense. Like, you notice how he never brought up the money aspect of it. Okay, well, you over here talking about you hyping it up. How much you paying your doctors? How much lawyers getting paid? How much scientists getting paid? You know what I mean? How much physicists getting paid? He ain't saying nothing about money. He's like, yeah, let's come over here. No, no, no. So that's not gonna happen. Now, unless you about to pay them to be contracted or something like that, that's a different story. But they don't pay nothing out there in Canada for the doctors. Because that was the case. If right now, if Canada paid the appropriate amount of money, Canada will be full of so many Asians and Indians. Because so many of them, they go over there in hopes to be, you know, successful. And they realize, okay, Canada ain't paying crap. So they end up going to another country and trying again. I guarantee, I promise you that, because so many of those well, Africans too. But I'm gonna say this too. Regardless of what people think about Africans, they travel, and you find an African anywhere in the world. So I give them props on that. But it would literally be a whole lot of Africans, Indians, and Asians, like being doctors, lawyers, and all that stuff like that. Even though a lot of them were there, but why are they leaving? You know, if something terrible is happening or something ain't right when you see the immigrants go to a whole nother country and then they leave that country. So, but he just lying, bro. Like, don't believe nothing he said. He lying.
makes a lot of those processes a lot quicker, and it helps out our country in the long run.
Mark Harkesol, thank you so much. Great to see you. More.
Yeah, that's it. As a man lying on the set, if you know, you know. But all you gotta do is just get online, you know, thanks to social media. You get on Twitter or something or TikTok, whatever. And yeah, you talk to the Canadians. Did I say that? Yeah, Canadians. I said like Grenadians. Yeah, reach out to them Canadians. They're gonna tell you what's really happening. So, you know, not saying you gotta be just rich, but you gotta make six figures. Same thing in New York, LA. Now people they do okay if they don't make that much. But as far as living comfortable, you know, if you go to LA, you don't want to be making 125. You want to make 225. You know, if you go to actually a little bit more than that, but if you're making 225, you'll be okay. Same thing in New York. There's a lot of people that make they make it under 100K, but if you want to live comfortable, you want to be in the 200 figures. You know what I mean? San Francisco, same thing. Probably a little bit more in San Francisco, but that's just reality. But you know, we can be living a real peaceful life, but these people that's running it don't want that to happen. So, um, yeah, man, I don't know what's gonna happen. All I can think of is he's trying to, well, of course, I mean, it makes sense because you got all the foreigners they leaving now, and you got other people leaving as well. So it's like, okay, our population is dropping, so let's go ahead and start recruiting more people to come over here, and then all that's gonna happen when they get over there and they realize how the economy is set up. They're like, nah, I had a good, back in my own country, and that's just the sad reality. But at the end of the day, no matter what you got going on, if you leave anywhere, before you leave, do the research. See how the economy is, how much money you need to make, how much the average job is paying. Do all the research, but a lot of them foreigners they don't do that. They just go straight over there to Canada. Oh, I'm gonna go to Canada, and when I get out of college, I'm gonna make $300,000 a year. And then when they get out of college, like, nah, Playboy, we got 45,000 for you right now. Take it or leave it. So they wasted all that time, and now they scrambling. It's like, well, I gotta leave the country because the whole country's like this. So where's the next country I can go to? And then on top of that, we owe degree work in another country. And a lot of times they won't do that because guess what? The college they in business to make money. They don't care about you successful or not. They in business to make money. So if you're in Canada, you went to college in Canada, and it didn't work out for you, you think you about to go to Germany with that college degree, and you think they're gonna accept your credits, your diploma, for you to be a doctor in Germany. Now I'm not saying they won't do that, but a lot of times they won't do that because they want they cut out of it. If anything, they'll have you go to school to make up to make up some extra credits because they want to get some money out you. It's a hustle. So some places they'll accept your degree, but a lot of places won't. They're like, okay, well, we'll accept some of them, but you need to go to school for another 3 years for you to get the rest of them. Because I hear that a lot. That does happen. So that's why it's so important for you to do your research. But at the end of the day, Canada messing up, and instead of them just telling the truth, they want to make it seem like everything is all giggles and sunshine. It's like it's far from that. But it's sad that it happened to them people. But it's not what they say. Not about how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you get up. So, but again, do your research before you go anywhere. If you get a job opportunity, find out how much they paying you. Find out how much the rent, the mortgages out there, how much property taxes, all that, man. Because you had to deal with all that. Them people ain't about to. No, do the research on that. So anyway, guys, if you know anything about what's going on with Canada, maybe whatever country you're in, maybe you're dealing with the same thing where your government is slowly trying to push out the actual the locals and trying to replace them with immigrants. Because I know in the UK it's real bad. I know in Canada it's real bad. In the United States is real bad. Because I'm here. So, but yeah, if you guys make sure you like, share, subscribe. You can donate something to my Cash App. I really appreciate you. And yeah, until next time.